If you are not preparing, then you are wasting so much time, money, and energy in caregiving. Here's what I'm talking about. For everything that you want your person with dementia to do, what are you doing to prepare to help make that happen? Here's a story. I was talking to a Dementia Care Club member recently, and she was asking me, how do I convince my husband to move into a care facility if I need him to? She's 80 years old. She doesn't have any family nearby. She basically said they're kind of in a rural area and they're all alone. She's wanting to prepare for a potential future when she might not be able to care for her husband. I asked her, how do you think your husband would respond to this idea of moving to a care facility? And she immediately, without hesitation, was like, oh no, there is no way he would be open to something like that. As we know from my video on 3 things to never do with somebody who has dementia, we usually do not want to try to convince someone of dementia of something they don't believe. That usually just leads to more frustration, stress, and resistance. Instead, knowing that he would likely be resistant to this idea of more help moving to a care facility, what can this caregiver do? How can this Careblazer start to plan ahead? How can she prepare for what she knows is going to be a difficult situation? Besides the obvious things like looking for facilities near her, finding out what they cost, asking about their waiting list, considering whether or not she thinks that facility would be a good fit for her husband, she can start asking the big question of, okay, how do I actually get him to go? How do I actually get him through the doors to a facility like this if I need to? All of a sudden, you're no longer trying to get caught up in arguing with him, convincing him of why he needs to go, or even trying to get him to agree with your decision. Instead, the question becomes, how do I get him through those doors of the care facility as easily as possible, as peacefully as possible, with the least amount of stress as possible? What would that look like? How might the facility staff be able to help? Now, please hear me here. This is a huge takeaway. When giving care to a person with dementia, whether you're giving the care to the person or anybody else is giving care to the person, we have to keep the focus on the person, not on the disease. That is why a cookie cutter approach often doesn't work. We're going to have to prepare for the very personal approach that you want to take with your loved one. In this situation with her husband, she was pretty adamant she did not think it would be a good idea to try to bring this up with him. For you and your loved one, it might actually be a situation where you want to bring it up with them and have a discussion about it. And maybe for you, you're not thinking about placement, but maybe you're thinking about having somebody else come in the home and help out with some care tasks. How do you get your person with dementia to accept that help? How do you make sure that the person coming into the home is going to be as successful as possible? As you know, like I've talked about a lot, just because you are a caregiver for somebody with dementia or a doctor or a healthcare professional caring for somebody with dementia, it does not mean they've had any specialty training in dementia. And let's say the person coming to help your loved one actually does have specialty training in dementia. They don't have specialty training in your person with dementia. That's why somebody, even with all the greatest training, might not have great success when they start coming into your home to provide help. So staying on this theme of preparation, what can you do to help prepare them for success? What can you do to help them be more successful? It can cost a lot of money and time to look for somebody to come in the home and then finally hire somebody to come in the home. Don't let that money and time go to waste. Could you let them know what your loved one loves talking about, what their favorite snacks are, topics that set them off and they do not want to talk about? How could you introduce this new help or introduce this new facility in a way that the person with dementia will be most likely to receive? That's such a great question. What would be acceptable to the person with dementia? Might they be acceptable to a friend visiting, a cook visiting, an assistant visiting, a housekeeper visiting? You don't actually have to call whatever it is by the exact name. Sometimes we just want things to be easy, and that makes total sense. Who wouldn't want it to be easy? The problem with that is that oftentimes it's not easy, and so by wishing it was easy, thinking it should be easy, and then not doing the preparation that's required usually just makes it more hard. We expect that whatever help is coming in should just be able to help, but then that backfires a lot of the time. It actually leads to you needing to do more help and more frustration for you. So one of the biggest takeaways I want you to take away from this video is, what are all the obstacles that you anticipate would be in the way of your person with dementia accepting help? Whether that help is from you, from an outside caregiver, or even from a care facility. What are all those possible obstacles that you anticipate? Then brainstorm all the possible ideas of how you could overcome that obstacle. Actually think through it. Don't filter. Write it all down on a piece of paper. You are going to be so much more likely to have success in getting that help through the door or getting your loved one to transition into a care facility than just hiring somebody and telling them to come in, or just choosing a care facility and trying to convince your loved one to go with you in the car to go to the care facility. In the case of the caregiver I talked about in the beginning, she was thinking that maybe she would tell her husband that he had a doctor's appointment and they together would go to the doctor's appointment, which literally is the care facility. Another idea she had was to take her husband out to eat in the care facility dining facility, because a lot of those dining facilities are big, they have formal menus, they have staff coming and taking food orders, and then at some point she would slip out while a staff member came and helped engage him in a pleasant activity. Again, this is her personal response after doing some preparation and thinking about the obstacles she would likely face. Your response might sound and look totally different, and that is okay because it's personal to you and your person with dementia. If you'd like to increase the chances that any help you try or somebody else tries is going to be successful, so you can avoid a lot of the costly mistakes of wasting the money, time, and energy, then I invite you to join us in August for a special series called Help That Actually Helps. What can you do to increase the chances that anything you do to try to help your person with dementia and anything anybody else tries to do to help your person with dementia will be successful? So many people are saying caregivers need help, caregivers need to accept help, but how do you actually do it? And where do you go for help? And how are there communities and resources out there that can help provide financial assistance for help? We are going to be covering all of those topics inside of August's special series. We get started in just a few days. There is a link in the description below this video for you to learn more and join us. Careblazer, thank you for being here. Preparation truly is important. I'm hoping this makes caregiving a bit easier for everyone. Sending you love. Bye.
There's so many ways to be happy.